everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, broadcasting from our studio in Edmonton, Canada. It's Monday, May the 10th, 2021 on this side of the world. And a good Tuesday morning, magandang umaga, to our viewers in the Philippines. In the news, we have updates from several of our correspondents from across North America. Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Updates from Pennsylvania Department of Human Services on public assistance enrollment and additional SNAP funds for all SNAP recipients.
Mayan Manzano-Gerzan in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Small businesses and individuals in New Jersey impacted by COVID-19 to receive $275 million relief fund.
Arlene Ocampo in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Expansion of No Arm Left Behind initiative in the state of Maryland.
Eli Austria in Pasadena, California.
Los Angeles offers appointment-free COVID-19 vaccinations at all city-run sites.
In business news, Anna Cui in Las Vegas will tell us about the red-hot housing market in that city. Plus, for tonight's roundtable, if you could be anywhere now, where would it be and why? Our coverage begins now. We begin with that powder keg in the Middle East. Air raid sirens sounded in Jerusalem today as police evacuated hundreds of Jewish worshippers from the city's western wall. Hamas militants fired dozens of rockets from the Gaza Strip. This came after warning Israel to pull its security forces from the violence-torn Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Now you can see here on the screen with what the rocket fire looked like in this wide shot of Jerusalem. Now this is the scene at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which sparked the rocket fire. Tensions in the region have been rising since Israeli police clashed with Palestinian worshippers on the last day of Ramadan. Israeli officers in riot gear fired rubber bullets, stun guns, and tear gas, as well as grenades. More than 300 people wounded in the latest round of fighting. Israel has promised to respond with force, saying those who attack us will pay a heavy price. That has the U.S. State Department concerned. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says all sides need to de-escalate.
Needless to say, we're very focused on the situation in Israel, West Bank, Gaza. Very deeply concerned about the rocket attacks that we are seeing now that need to stop and need to stop immediately. And also, of course, concerns about the violence, provocative actions in and around the Haram al-Sharif, Temple Mount. That violence needs to cease.
COVID-19 now. How is the world faring with the pandemic? Well, depends where you are. The United States, reopening continues, immunization continues, and there seems to be a feeling that things might just get back to normal sooner than later. Up in Canada, much of the country in various stages of lockdown as the third wave continues its rampage across the nation. Overseas, schools and stores reopened in several parts of Europe as the continent eases its way out of several months of tight restrictions. But in India, that country, it remains in the grip of a devastating outbreak. And a warning, some of the video I'm going to show you now may be disturbing. This is what things look like in the tech hub of Bangalore, where a strict lockdown has been imposed. What you see here is a crematorium with burning funeral pyres, the last stop for victims of COVID-19. Elsewhere in the city, roads are empty, shops are closed. Today, more than 370,000 new cases, deaths occurring at a rate of nearly 3 every minute, more than 3,700 a day. As we told you before, these are the official numbers. Experts say the actual number is much higher. Insurance consultant Kurti Jain lives in Bangalore, and he says he supports the lockdown.
Lockdown for the timing, it is justified, but I think it's not the solution, final solution for this pandemic. We people have to take care, and we people have to be careful. I think this lockdown only is to overcome the burden of the hospitals, where hospitals are overburdened and they are not able to give beds and oxygen and other.
Most of the infections are caused by what is known as the B.1.617 variant. Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove of the World Health Organization says that variant appears to be more contagious, but she adds it appears that the vaccines will work on it.
We don't have anything to suggest that our diagnostics, our therapeutics, and our vaccines don't work. This is important. We will continue to see variants emerge. We will continue to see variants of concern around the world, and we must do everything that we can to really limit the spread, limit infections, prevent the spread, and reduce severe disease and death with the tools that we have at hand.
Foreign aid continues to pour into India to help out with this outbreak. We'll look now at Brazil. Despite having the third highest number of cases in the world and the second highest number of deaths, this is how the president wanted the country to observe Mother's Day on the weekend. President Jair Bolsonaro, led a motorcycle parade. The hour-long parade ran from his official residence in Brasilia through the center of the city and back. Hundreds of bikers taking part. Thousands of spectators turned out. Most, no masks. Distancing, non-existent. Bolsonaro has been criticized for the lax way his government has handled the past pandemic. Let's look now at today's COVID-19 numbers provided by the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine. As of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, the number of COVID-19 cases reported worldwide, now more than 158,480,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases: the United States, more than 32.7 million. India, more than 22.6 million. Sadly, this virus has claimed 3,232,000 lives worldwide. Top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths: the United States, more than 581,000. Brazil, more than 422,000. India, more than 246,000. President Joe Biden says a Russian-based group of cyber criminals is behind the ransomware attack on that shut down the largest oil pipeline in the United States. The FBI says a group called DarkSide hacked the pipeline. It adds there's no evidence the Russian government was involved. Biden says the U.S. is working to crack down on ransomware attacks.
We have efforts underway with the FBI and DOJ, Department of Justice, to disrupt and prosecute ransomware criminals. And my administration will be pursuing a global effort of ransomware attacks by transnational criminals who often use global money laundering networks to carry them out.
The Colonial Pipeline was shut down 3 days ago. The company says it's trying to partially reopen it. The Colonial Line is the largest fuel network between Texas and New York. Facebook's latest social media plans are getting a lot of pushback from justice officials in most American states. They just don't like the idea of a version of Instagram for children under the age of 13. Attorneys general from 44 states have written to Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg. They say Instagram for kids would be harmful for a myriad of reasons. They worry about cyberbullying, predatory adults, not to mention Facebook's poor record on data protection and privacy. They sum up with their letter with these words, and these are their words. It appears that Facebook is not responding to a need, but instead creating one. That volcano in Iceland I told you about back in March, well, it's changing its behavior. Now, it's located just outside the country's capital city of Reykjavik. That's about 30 kilometers away. Now, you recall when it sprang to life in mid-March, its activity was continuous but low-key. Rivers of lava flowed out of its craters. But a week ago, things changed. Now, it alternates between that slow, continuous flow and furious outbursts. So let's spend a few seconds now just watching it. That's quite a sight there. This volcano, well, it puts on quite a show, and it has attracted tourists from other countries. And the folks that come to see it, well, they're quite impressed.
Actually, it's pretty hard to describe because in pictures or in movies you can't really feel the warmth of the volcano. It's amazing how warm it is, even it's so many meters away from here. The sounds, it's absolutely intense experience. The colors, the warmth, the sound, everything combined. It's unbelievable, actually.
Well, it's not every day you can go to look at a volcano so close, and yeah, I don't know, it's really amazing and so beautiful. The power of the earth, and I don't feel, I feel small and so near to this power, but I'm not scared.
You might have heard about that whale that was trapped in the Thames River in England. That's the river that flows through London and empties into the North Sea. The young mink whale had beached itself on the banks of the river. Crews worked in the wee hours of Monday to free the sea mammal under the watchful eyes of hundreds of spectators, but their efforts may be for naught. After it was hosed down and put back into the water, the whale initially headed out to the North Sea, but sadly it was spotted a while later returning upstream. Experts fear the whale may not be well and may not survive. Up next, we have stories from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Sicklerville, New Jersey, and you're watching Eagle News America.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. In Pennsylvania, more help for people on limited incomes, especially for those who need assistance to put food on the table. Standing by in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, EBC's Mila Simbulan. Mila, what is the state doing to help these folks out?
Hi, Thomas. Yes, the Department of Human Services here in Pennsylvania provided an update on what's happening, especially on the public assistance enrollment numbers. And they reminded Pennsylvanians that safety net programs like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or what we call SNAP, and medical assistance are available to individuals and families who are struggling to afford food or access health care. Enrollment statewide for medical assistance has increased by 416,428 people since February 2020, for a total of enrollment of 3,247,991 in March 2021. That's a 14.7% increase. Pennsylvanians who have lost health coverage or are currently uninsured and need coverage for themselves or their children may qualify for coverage through medical assistance or the Children's Health Insurance Program, or what we call CHIP. Medical assistance and CHIP provide coverage for routine and emergency health services, tests and screenings, and prescriptions, and COVID-19 testing and treatment are covered by both medical assistance and CHIP. Also, medical assistants and CHIP enroll individuals throughout the year and do not have a limited or special enrollment period. So people needing health coverage can apply for these programs at any time. There are income limits for medical assistance, but all children, I'll repeat, all children qualify for comprehensive health, vision, and dental coverage through CHIP, regardless of their parents' income. Enrollment for SNAP statewide has increased by 66,723 people since February 2020, for a total enrollment of about 1,804,182 in March 2021. That's a 3.8% increase. Unlike medical assistance, which has seen consistent growth in enrollment since the start of the pandemic, SNAP enrollment has seen both increases and decreases, including a slight decrease each month since September 2020. Miller also discussed additional SNAP emergency allotments that certain SNAP households started receiving last week. Since March 2020, Pennsylvanians have received more than 100 million each month and more than 1 billion total in federally funded SNAP funds to help low-income individuals and families because of the authority granted to states with an active disaster declaration. Moving forward, these households will begin to receive a regular monthly emergency allotment so long as Pennsylvania's disaster declaration, which is required to authorize emergency allotments, remains in place. Right now, Thomas, in Swarthmore, it's 57 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit chilly, or 13 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy skies. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Milo Symbol and Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Well, your weather report is much the same as what we've got here, about 13 degrees.
Oh.
And yeah, it is a little bit chilly, but certainly better than the minus 30 that we experienced throughout the wintertime here. Mila, for the benefit, Mila, of those who don't have much idea what SNAP's all about, I think we used to call those food stamps when I lived down in the United States. But could you share more information on SNAP for us, Mila?
So SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and that's a federally assistance program, and it's available for all the states. This is not just for Pennsylvania. And SNAP is the country's most important and most impactful anti-hunger program. And it primarily serves families with children, especially those with children, the seniors, and people with disabilities. For every meal provided by a Feeding Pennsylvania food bank, SNAP provides 9. So it's 1:9. SNAP helps Pennsylvanians purchase fresh food and groceries. It helps families with limited or restrained resources so that they'll be able to keep food on the table while meeting other bills and needs. As we all know, inadequate food and chronic nutrient deficiencies, it has a profound effects on a person's life and health. So SNAP really helps all those people who are really in need. And if you're not eating healthy, you have an increased risk of chronic diseases, and you have a higher chance of hospitalization. So it is really an important part of the United States, the SNAP program.
Yeah, you're right there. Nutrition is kind of key to good health, especially in children. If you grow up vitamin deficient in those early years, that can have severe effects on your health much later in life.
Exactly. This pandemic also is, while we're still in the pandemic, access to essential needs like food is more than important than ever to fight this disease. And it helps especially the vulnerable populations. It helps them keep healthy, and it mitigates the occurring all those health issues.
Helps build the immune system. Mila, for those who are in need of this assistance, how would they apply for the program?
So applications, we have several programs here in Pennsylvania. SNAP is one of them. And we also have, like what I mentioned on my report, medical assistance, cash assistance. We also have what we call LIHEAP, and there's also emergency rental assistance program. And there's other public assistance programs, and those can be submitted online. There's www.compass.state.pa.us. And then for those who prefer to submit a paper application, there's also some options available. You can go to a county assistant office, or what we call CAO. Paper applications are available for pickup. And also applications can be printed from the website I just mentioned, or it can be requested through phone at 1-800-692-7462, and then it can be mailed to the local CAO or placed in a CAO secure drop box if it's available. So you don't need to know your own eligibility in order to apply. See if while CAOs remain closed, work processing applications, determining eligibility, and issuing benefits continues. So you don't have to worry about those things. Thomas?
So a variety of ways to apply. Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'd mentioned earlier in the show when we were talking about COVID. Things vary depending on where you live. Things tend to be opening up a little more. What's the mood of people in Pennsylvania at the stage of the pandemic you're at there, in terms of, people are getting immunized, more and more things are opening up? What is the mood of people?
So right now the restaurants are in 75% capacity. And what we heard is in the next 2 weeks, it will be 100%. And just over the weekend, I was out and about, and there's so many cars out there. There's so many people out there. We're starting to feel normal, I think. And as far as vaccination, I'm actually, my second dose will be tomorrow. And the last time I was there at the hospital, there's so many people at the vaccination hospital, and people are, more and more people I know, even my friends, my family, I've been asking them whether they wanted the vaccine. Initially, there's they cannot decide, but now they're really positive they want to be vaccinated, and even the kids. We also heard that those kids from 12 to 15 can be vaccinated as well. So that's a good news for Pennsylvanians, especially my kids, because I have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. So they're also excited to be vaccinated, and they're willing to be vaccinated. Thomas?
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, because that's going to be the key to the end of the pandemic, is overcoming that vaccine hesitancy and getting that herd immunity, getting enough people immunized. Mila, thanks for joining us. Stick around. We want to find out where you would rather be if you had the chance to be somewhere else.
Yes.
Now we're going to go to New Jersey, where there's more help for small businesses. As a matter of fact, the state set to distribute more than $250 million. We go to Sicklerville now, where Mayanne Manzano-Gerson is standing by. She joins us with the details. Good evening, Mayanne.
Good evening, Thomas, and that is right. According to a report released by the Office of Governor Phil Murphy, there is an additional $235 million in funding for small business relief and $40 million in funding for an excluded residence fund to assist individuals negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, respectively. The new small business funding proposed by the governor's office and agreed upon by the legislative leadership will fulfill existing Phase 4 small business grant request made to the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, or EDA, while the new direct cash assistance program will help New Jerseyans in need who have been excluded from previous rounds of COVID relief. Additionally, as part of the small business relief agreement between the governor's office and the legislative leadership, EDA will extend Phase 4 and begin accepting applications from businesses that missed the previous small business relief program deadlines. In April, New Jersey state officials signed 5 bills allocating $100 million in federal COVID relief funds for small businesses, including micro businesses, bars and restaurants, arts organizations, and child care facilities. The breakdown of the $235 million in proposed small business funding is as follows. Micro businesses, $120 million. Bars and restaurants, $20 million. Child care facilities, $10 million. New businesses and startups, $25 million. Sustain and serve, $10 million. And other small businesses and nonprofit, $50 million. And for New Jersey's latest COVID-19 numbers, the Department of Health has reported another 459 new positive cases today, bringing our statewide total to 880,635. Sadly, Thomas, we are also reporting 10 new confirmed deaths, pushing the total to 23,170 fatalities. But on the brighter side, the latest total of fully vaccinated people here in New Jersey is now 3,629,909. To know the latest on New Jersey's vaccination progress, visit covid19.nj.gov/vaccine. And Thomas, for some weather update, it's currently 10:13 in the evening here in New Jersey, and it's currently cloudy. It is 54 degrees Fahrenheit or 12 degrees Celsius. In Siglerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Verzon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Mayan, to date, how much COVID-19 relief has already been given to businesses affected by COVID in New Jersey?
Thomas, to date, the Economic Development Authority here in New Jersey has distributed more than $250 million in aid to some 55,000 businesses across New Jersey. Thomas.
You've got something there called the Excluded Residence Fund. Who's eligible to receive that?
Right, Thomas. For this funding, the New Jerseyans who have previously been ineligible or who were not provided some assistance before from the federal assistance, including ITI and holders and others previously excluded from COVID relief assistance, such as the stimulus checks or unemployment insurance. This funding is for them. This provide a one-time cash assistance benefit of up to $2,000 to households with income up to $55,000, as long as they can prove that they have been suffered economic hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thomas.
And before we wrap up your report, again, I want to sample the mood in your state, in New Jersey, and in your area of New Jersey. How are people feeling at this stage in the pandemic? Is there some optimism, or are they still maybe there'll be a fourth wave? What's it like in New Jersey?
Well, Thomas, just like what Myla said in Pennsylvania, I can definitely feel the optimism in my community here in New Jersey. Especially in my area, I see more and more people are going out. And personally, myself, with friends who I know or we know and we're sure that are fully vaccinated already, we try to not wear masks anymore, just to have a break from wearing it and, just to breathe the fresh air. And we, as long as everyone is fully vaccinated in a room, we try not to wear it as often as we could, but of course, when we go out to the public, we still do. And like what I said, there's optimism in the air, Thomas. I see more and more people going out, and I see more and more people even dining in at restaurants here in New Jersey. Thomas?
And hopefully that optimism continues, Mayan. Thanks for joining us, and you take care.
Thank you, Thomas. You too.
Still to come, we've got stories from Maryland and California. Eagle News America continues.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. I really like this slogan, no arm left behind. You know, that's kind of catchy. They're using it in Maryland. And to tell us about that campaign, Arlene Ocampo joins us live from Fort Washington. Arlene, what's this all about? No arm left behind.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. As part of the state's No Arm Left Behind initiative, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan activated mobile vaccination teams to run additional clinics for nursing home residents and staff. These steps were initiated as part of the effort to encourage the residents and workers to get vaccinated. The state of Maryland was one of the first states in the nation to launch the federal long-term care vaccination program. To ensure continued access of the vaccines at these facilities, state health officials are deploying mobile vaccination teams that are conducting clinics at more than 30 nursing homes each week. There are numerous public outreach campaigns through the Maryland Department of Health urging everyone to get the vaccine as soon as possible to protect themselves and those under their care. This would include a new public service announcement, print ads, flyers, posters, and social media posts. Meanwhile, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan continues to visit mass vaccination sites throughout the state. He toured the Ripken Stadium in Aberdeen, Maryland, and the Columbia Mall locations. As part of the state's No Arm Left Behind initiative, no appointments are needed at any of the 13 mass vaccination sites here in Maryland. Maryland Governor Hogan said, and I quote, "We are in a new phase of our vaccination effort where we are focused on making sure that no arm is left behind. Walk-ups have been an incredibly successful tool, and we are now able to make them available at all of our mass vaccination sites across the state. The sooner we get more Marylanders vaccinated, the sooner we can put this pandemic behind us once and for all." But to ensure that you do receive the vaccine, one can still directly schedule an appointment by visiting covidvax.maryland.gov or by calling the state's COVID-19 Vaccination Support Center at 1-855-MD-GoVax or 1-855-634-6829. Appointments are being accepted at various health departments, pharmacies, and primary care physicians' offices. With all of these options, it makes it easier to get vaccinated. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Arlene Ocampo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Arlene, I understand your arm did not get left behind. You were actually at one of the mass vaccine sites in Maryland. Can you tell us how that went?
Sure thing. Yes, I went to the Six Flags America location, but it wasn't for me. It was for my younger son. So once you actually enter in that area, you basically just follow the signs and the cones. I've never seen so many cones ever in one place. But anyways, once you reach an actual person, they'll ask you for your name and your ID, and then they'll run through a set of questions, in regards to COVID exposure. And after that, you proceed and you continue following the cones, and then the next live person will guide you to the line under the tent area where you will actually get the jab. So we waited for about 15 minutes before my son actually got his first jab. And then he got his vaccination card. And then after that, they direct you into the parking. There's a designated parking area where you stay there for about 15 minutes just to see if you have any reactions. And after 15 minutes, if you're good to go, then you could just drive away. But if you do happen to have a reaction, you just honk your horn and a nurse will come to your rescue. Thomas?
Okay, quickly, what's the status of the key metrics in Maryland, including the vaccine distribution?
Yes, as of today, the state's 7-day positivity rate dropped to its lowest since October 23rd of last year. So we're down to 3.06%. And for the daily positivity rate, it dropped to 2.24%. And then with hospitalizations at 798. As for the vaccine, there has been 5,256,617 administered and 2,362,515 who are actually fully vaccinated. Thomas?
Thanks for joining us this evening, Arlene, and we'll get back to you hopefully during the roundtable. In Los Angeles now, getting a vaccine couldn't be easier. Eagle News correspondent Eli Austria tells us that people can get immunized without having to make an appointment. Eli, the details.
Hi, Thomas. So with confirmed COVID-19 cases at an all-time low in Los Angeles County since the beginning of the pandemic, expanded vaccination efforts continue for all Los Angeles residents. Los Angeles offers appointment-free COVID-19 vaccines at all of its city-run sites effective today. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti states, "We stand at a critical juncture in our fight to end this pandemic, and our city will keep doing everything possible to knock down barriers to vaccine access and deliver doses directly to all Angelenos. Our vaccines are safe and effective, and we will continue working to get shots into the arms of our local families, protect ourselves and our loved ones, and start Los Angeles on the road to health, economic growth, and a lasting recovery." The city expands on its vaccination sites to LA Southwest College and Pierce College from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with a mobile clinic available at Green Meadows Recreation Center in South Los Angeles. Through the Mobile Outreach for Vaccine Equity or MOVE program, 10 COVID-19 vaccine mobile teams will be available Monday through Saturday this week for Angelenos in Arleta, Sylmar, Chesterfield Square, Glassell Park, Green Meadows, North Hollywood, San Pedro, Wilmington, Canoga Park, and Boyle Heights. This will ensure equity in the vaccine administration, reaching the city's most vulnerable areas. And for Angelenos who have not received their COVID-19 vaccine and are interested in more information, we urge them to visit www.corona-virus.la/vax sites in order for them to look for a drive-through, walk-up, or mobile clinic close to them. All city sites are appointment-free and available to all LA County residents 16 years of age and older, regardless of immigration status and health insurance coverage. In Pasadena, California, Eli Austria, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Eli, before you go, I've just got one question for you. With all this increased effort to get that shot in everybody's arm, does the city have enough vaccine in the medicine cabinet?
Right. So, Thomas, the city of LA actually is expecting to receive a shipment this week of 42,000 doses of Moderna, 54,000 doses of Pfizer, and 27,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson. So the total of this shipment plus the remaining supply that they have on hand from last week, this will allow city vaccination sites to be able to administer up to maybe about 255,000 doses to LA residents throughout the 10 permanent city-run vaccination sites and even through the MOVE program. Back to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Eli, and stick around. We'll see you at the round table. There will be no incumbent in the mayoralty race in Atlanta this year. Current Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms says she's not seeking re-election. With more on that story, Eagle News correspondent Philip Toledo.
Thanks, Thomas. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has announced that she will not seek re-election as one of the mayoral positions often in the national spotlight over the last several months. In what many considered a surprise, she posted a video and a letter to the city online last week. She discussed her decision and alluded to her future efforts without mentioning any specific plans.
It is with deep emotions that I hold my head high and I choose not to seek another term as mayor. For my children, it means working each day to make Atlanta a safe place that they can call home. For our city, it means working without ceasing to create the beloved community that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamt of, one absent of hatred, poverty, and prejudice. For our state, it means doing all in my power to work against the backwards policies pushed by some leaders, including to restore the integrity of what some have tried to strip from us all, the sacred right to vote. For our country, it means working to advance the agenda of the Biden-Harris administration.
Mayor Bottoms has held the post since 2017 and has faced a variety of challenges. Her letter recounted a few of them, such as the largest municipal cyber attack in history just months into her first term, passing ethics reform in the city government, economic redevelopment projects, and culminating last year with the pandemic, as well as the historic results of the general election. While the video did not make any mention of it, her online text letter mentioned that she felt she could still fundraise and win the election if she wanted to, but again failed to mention any specifics of what she planned for next. Now, rumors of her political aspirations are not new. Many speculated that she was on the short list for then-candidate Joe Biden's vice president pick, and later as a potential cabinet member. While her plans may still be uncertain, the mayor still said she would finish out her term.
Remainder of my term, I will make every decision, keeping what is best for our communities top of mind, and will continue to work diligently to improve the lives of those in our city. I love you, Atlanta. Thank you for the honor of serving as your mayor. With Atlanta in my heart and Georgia on my mind, Keisha.
In Atlanta, Georgia, Philip Toledo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Up next, we have a report from Las Vegas, and we've got our virtual roundtable. You're watching Eagle News America.
Start up your weekday mornings with edutainment, news, and information kasama ang inyong paboritong Net25 shows. Samahan ang inyong paboritong morning barkada sa Pambansang Almusal at 5 a.m. Tatalakayin mga pangunahing balita sa pagtutulungan ng Radyo Agila at Net25. Samahan si Weng de la Fuente sa Balitalakayan, 7 a.m. Saganang Mamamayan at 8 a.m. NHK World at 9 a.m. Eagle News International at 10 a.m. At mga balitang dapat niyong malaman mula sa Agila, Pilipinas at 11 a.m. This is your morning startup every weekday mornings only here on Net25.
House prices in Las Vegas are skyrocketing. We go to EBC's Anna Cui now to find out why.
Yes, and thank you for having me on the show. The Southern Nevada housing market set another record for April, and although some experts predict a small correction in the market by the end of the year, with foreclosure moratorium and mortgage payment forbearance nearing its expiration date, there is no slowing down anytime soon. Nationally, home prices increased 11.3% year over year in March, according to CoreLogic Home Price Insights report. Large metropolitan cities continue to experience price increases, including Las Vegas, with a growth of 9.4% year over year. The median single-family home price for April was $375,000, up from $363,000 in March, according to data from Las Vegas Realtors. And according to real estate experts, prices in Las Vegas have averaged a growth of 20% year over year. Although single-family home inventory did increase by about 3% in April, most realtors don't anticipate the market will cool off in the near future, as inventory remains relatively low compared to recent years, and demand remains high. Now, I was able to talk to Macy Padilla, who is a real estate advisor, and she talks about why she moved to Las Vegas and how the housing market was at the time.
We moved here actually smack in the middle of the pandemic, and we actually came because of my husband's job. He works with the Las Vegas Raiders. So we came with the team. With us, I think we came with about 50 other families all around the same time. So it was definitely, a big surge coming from the Bay Area at that time. And when the pandemic hit, I know the loan processing and the market just kind of slowed down. But the Raiders definitely did bring a lot of us over here, and even fans. I mean, they don't even work for them. And there's a lot of fans in Southern California, in the Bay Area, that are just, diehard and decided that they wanted to come also because the housing market was really good at the time that they moved here.
So what does Macy say now that we are well over a year into the pandemic, and how the pandemic influenced people to make significant life changes?
I'm actually serving 100% solely California transplants right now. So it's very interesting. I think the pandemic caused a lot of stir in the housing market, where now people who were forced to live in California because of their jobs are now able to work remote 100% of the time. And so it's now why am I paying such high state taxes? Why am I, paying for rent in this place where we can't afford to live? Where now that we can work remote, let's go to Las Vegas. So now, one person's thought became thousands of people's thoughts. So what I read last was there's about 4,000 every month that's looking for homes.
But just how much are these migrants affecting the Las Vegas housing market? Here's Macy talking about her own home buying experience and what's happening now.
And I remember before, even when, my husband and I were looking toward the tail end of 2019, builders were calling us, just let us know. And they were the ones that would call us. And now it's the opposite. Builders are doing raffles or lotteries for new lots, and they have waiting lists. We went and saw some new builds in North Las Vegas, and the waiting list is up to 100 people plus. There's some other ones that are only releasing 2 or 3 lots at a time, and now you have to wait until your number is called. And what that means is that if it takes 1 or 2 or 3 months for your number to be called, your home base of your listing price, it goes up $5,000-$10,000.
So builders selling strategies fueled by buyer competition and low inventory should be enough to cause a price hike in the housing market, right? Well, we are still in a pandemic, and we all know it has caused a number of shortages. And while supplies have bounced back for toilet paper and cleaning supplies, others, like lumber, are still scarce. The pandemic-spurred lumber shortage has definitely driven the cost of construction. According to the National Association of Home Builders, lumber prices have increased more than 200% since April 2020, and some industry experts say it's unclear when prices are expected to come back down. In the meantime, this inflated cost is passed on to home buyers. In addition to income tax benefits, great airport connectivity, and its climate, experts say Las Vegas also has a growing economic base, and people are starting to notice it. You heard Macy talk about the relocation of the NFL's Raiders to the city, and then there's also the Vegas-born National Hockey League's Golden Knights, which has further brought attention to Southern Nevada. Now, speaking of expanding economic base, Amazon, which has been in Nevada for 20 years, just opened 2 additional distribution centers in Las Vegas, and Google has opened a new region for its cloud platform in Henderson, the second largest city in the state after Las Vegas. So it doesn't look like the influx of people moving to Las Vegas from other large metro areas will end soon. What does this mean for first-time homebuyers?
If you are a first-time home buyer in Nevada, there are still programs, for you to be able to get the financing that you need. And there are a lot of builders that will put priority on locals, and because they will ask, do you have a job here?
So, for those of you who are not in a hurry to get into a home now, listen to Maisie sharing her insight on what is to come.
So I would say, like, yes, it will definitely slow down and stabilize. I think it was like everybody was piled up at the gate and all of a sudden they lifted the gate and everyone's running in. So that's how I see it. Hold tight and ride this out. But, the mortgage forbearance, that we have to see what's going to go on with the economy. I know a lot of professionals are waiting to see if there's going to be a student loan forgiveness program because that plays a part in approvals.
Well, some are hoping this housing craze is a blip, just like the recently released April jobs report. As construction picks up, as mortgage forbearance ends, which may increase for sale listings, as the economy continues to open up, and as more and more people get vaccinated, experts predict all these may help things slow back down to some normalcy, including the surging home price growth here in Southern Nevada. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
So everybody wants to be in Las Vegas. Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to go around our round table to find out if that's true. Who wants to be in Las Vegas? Because tonight what we want to do is find out where you would want to be if you could be anywhere right now and why. So let's start with our producer, because I've got to be nice to you see, the producer's always the boss, and I'm going to be nice to the boss. Mila, where would you like to be and why?
Don't listen to Thomas. I'm not the boss. He's our boss. Yes, right now, because we're slowly going back to the real normal, and life is getting a little bit stressful these days. So I wanted to go to. I wish I'm in Maldives right now. I wanted to go somewhere where there's a beach and you can relax. You can sleep the whole day. You can just swim and eat and then sleep again. That's a perfect day for me right now.
Okay, for the geographically challenged, just place that on the globe for us.
Well, it's I know it's near Asia. It's about it's about 20 plus hours just to go there. So it's in the other side of the U.S.
Basically the South Pacific.
Yes. So it's kind of far to go there, and probably just going there will be stressful for me. But if you stay there for a couple of days, it will be perfect. And then you come back here in the U.S., have another 20 plus number of hours of flight, and yes, that's my dream location right now. Thomas?
It sounds sort of like what my wife was just saying. She's my local producer here, the floor director of the show in my studio. And she was saying, I want to go someplace where there's a beach, where it's hot and so on. So the Maldives, I think, would be ideal. We'll be booking the tickets, maybe.
We can go together. I'll ask your floor director.
I will do.
You need to stay for the show, so yes.
Eli, what about you? Well, I mean, you live in paradise there in California, but is there any other place other than California for you?
I think I'd want to maybe get away from the country. I want to go to someplace in Japan. It's always been my dream to travel to Japan, so I would want to be able to go to like a big city like Tokyo and even visit the countryside. It's very nice in Japan. There are a lot of good nature scenes that you can visit. And then when you kind of want to do more socialization, like shopping, and then you can go explore a city, I would always want to get lost in a big city like Tokyo. There's a big fashion scene there, and I would want to, explore the types of fashion that is in Tokyo, and then even the food especially. A good amount of food sounds really good right now, since we've all probably just been eating at home, or we'd be having takeout or, delivery. So any kind of different kinds of food would be amazing right now. Thomas.
You're making me hungry already. Just got to ask one quick question, though, Eli. How would you handle the language barrier there? Because I found when I went to Taiwan, hardly anybody spoke English, and I didn't speak Mandarin. How would you handle it in Japan, where very few people speak English?
Right. I think I would, try to study up on some Japanese. I do know like basic conversational Japanese. So I would still need to brush